So sometimes you know what you know, and sometimes you know what you don't know, and sometimes, as the Firesign Theater says, everything you know is wrong.
You know that you're wrong, but you fear you're right.
You suspect you're out of sync. You think that you're out of your mind.
Everything you know is wrong.
Over the past few years, there have been several movements to put religious-themed monuments around state capitol buildings across the country. One of the most notable efforts was in Oklahoma, where supporters were successful in getting a monument of the Ten Commandments placed at that state's capitol building. But if religious monuments are allowed in state capitol buildings, shouldn't that extend to all types of religious beliefs, even Satanism? So if you think that Satanism doesn't have a place in a government building near you, then everything you know is wrong. And joining me now for more on this is Lucian Graves, spokesperson for the Satanic Temple. Lucian, welcome back.
Thank you.
Let's start simple. What exactly is Satanism?
Satanism, to us, is, we consider it an atheistic religion. We look at it as a metaphorical construct, but we feel it's important to separate religion from supernaturalism, and it's our community, our culture, our values, and our shared narrative that makes us Satanists. Why this wouldn't be legitimate is up to other people to define if they care to exclude us, and then you would have to ask, of course, to what degree do we expect biblical literalism from Christians that we allow to the table.
Yeah. So tell us about the case in Florida that led to the Satanic Temple winning. What were you trying to place in Florida's Capitol building?
Well, it's really just a simple homemade, no-budget diorama of an angel falling from heaven, and across the top is a banner that says Happy Holidays from the Satanic Temple. Of course, this caused a bunch of uproar amongst the conservative pundits who are immediately assuming all kinds of motives behind it. They're saying that we're simply trying to offend Christians. And there's all this theatrical, outraged apocalypse mongering. And really all they can say, or that they know for sure, is that we want to convey a Happy Holidays message to the public. We'd be no less justified in speculating the true motives for placing a nativity scene in the Capitol Rotunda as being a effort to insult secularists who feel that such displays have no place in the public square.
I would think that a diorama like the one that you've put together that actually shows an angel falling from the sky into the flames of hell, the Christians would be very happy with that, because they're saying, you know, if you hook up with these guys, you're going to go to hell. And here you're basically stating it, aren't you?
Well, we're saying Happy Holidays, and you know, it seems to be apparent now that if we're not sullen and excluded and silently sitting in the corner, they're going to be unhappy, and that the underlying notion seems to be is that only Christians have a place to place displays or display any holiday spirit.
Yeah. I want to play a clip of Tucker Carlson talking about all this. Check this out.
So I'm assuming that there aren't a ton of Satanists in Tallahassee. I'm assuming there really aren't any at all. And this is purely an attempt to stick a finger in the eye of Christians in Florida. Is that correct?
That would be correct, Tucker. It is definitely a ploy and a scheme and a mockery of those of us who are believers of Christ Jesus, and that's their attempt. Yes, sir.
So the rationale here is that Satanism is a legitimate religion?
Yeah. So what are your thoughts on that?
What are my thoughts on that?
Yeah, on this question, you know, is Satanism a legitimate religion, and are there any Satanists in Florida?
Before we even confront that question, we have to ask, are only religious organizations allowed to submit holiday displays, and why? In what makes a religion? We say we can separate religion from supernaturalism, and that it's our community culture, our values, and shared narratives that makes us Satanists. So, you know, why isn't that legitimate? They never approach the question. Something that's important to note about the Tucker Carlson piece as well is that we were never invited on for comment. Further on in the piece, he talks about how the Satanic Temple wouldn't want to have this dialogue, and he's assuming a number of Satanists to be zero within Tallahassee, and he's assuming what our motives are for placing this display. and yet never went through the effort to even ask us what our motives are, reach out to speak to anybody within the Satanic Temple in Florida. So it's really just hack fraud journalism. And for somebody like Tucker Carlson to call himself a journalist and say that we're not Satanists is pretty ironic.
Yeah, yeah, I would say very much so. Well done, Lucian Graves. You're doing great work. Thanks for dropping by tonight.
Thank you.
And now everything you know about Satanism and our government is right.
The devil is about to visit Florida this Christmas, as a satanic temple there has scored a major victory, winning a battle to bring a display of Lucifer to the inside of the state capitol. Officials have approved the move under the Freedom of Speech and Religion law. Lucian Greaves, a spokesperson for the Satanic Temple, says his organization just wants to send out a positive message and set all differences aside for the annual holiday.
A lot of the secular groups and a lot of the marginalized religious groups feel that this is a victory because it shows that we do respect plurality and that there isn't viewpoint discrimination taking place. Some have decided to contextualize this as an assault on Christianity or an insult towards Christmas in particular. But that really is a problem of their own, because if you look at our display, it simply says, Happy Holidays from the Satanic Temple. And so it's a positive message we're putting forward, and I think we're saying that we can set our religious differences aside for a moment and embrace the fact that everybody can indulge in the celebratory spirit as reasonable hedonists.
We also talked to the president of Abiding Truth Ministries, Scott Lively. He said moves like this are an attack on the Christian religion.
The United States was founded as a Christian nation. God was always honored in our laws and our public policy until the mid-1940s. In the past few decades, we've seen much more of the aggression against Christian culture, and we've been slowly losing the battle to preserve Christianity in public life. Satanism is the worship of the devil, and there's nothing positive that can come from that.
Well, it's not the only victory by devil worshippers in Florida lately. In October, one group sought to distribute satanic coloring books to school kids. That's under a state law allowing organizations to pass out religious materials in educational facilities. Now, following the move, educational authorities are now looking to ban that policy.